For more great retail real estate content, like, share, and subscribe. Before we introduce the members of your build-out team, I want to do a quick overview of the workflow so that you understand where all these people fit together in the larger puzzle. One important note is that the early part of this process is very iterative and gets reworked over and over again until the design and the budget and the timeline align. Here's a general flow of work. The look and feel and general traffic patterns flow of the space are designed. An architect puts that design into a set of drawings with exact dimensions called plans. The architect's set of plans go to whatever engineers are required, and they create a second set of drawings that specify the electrical, plumbing, gas, and HVAC designs. Sometimes structural engineers are required. The plans are approved by anyone and everyone who has to approve them first, typically you and your landlord, potentially any investors you have. You share your full set of plans with the general contractors who give you pricing. If you have a contractor you know or trust, it's always beneficial to get them involved in the process as soon as possible. Then you make any changes based on the pricing from the contractors, you submit the final set for permitting, and then you wait. And wait. And then once your building permits are issued, you're off to the races. Now, there's a lot of other work that happens at the same time, so this is just a general flow. Keep in mind that you might cycle through some of the steps more than once as you work to align the design with the budget. That's why coming into the process with a realistic sense of space needs, design, and budget will really help with efficiency and costs. Now let's talk about your build-out team. Your design and build-out team is really important for both your build-out and your sanity during the process. So assembling a solid team that you trust and feel comfortable communicating with is paramount. If you remember anything from this entire course, remember this. Trust your gut when it comes to hiring your team. Your spidey senses are really important here. Just because someone's the cheapest, or your brother-in-law went to college with him, or whatever, you're the one who's footing the bill, and you need to feel good about the experience because there's no build-out without issues. Here are the main players on your team. First, designers. Definitely, the sexiest job on the build-out team is the designer because they get to pick out all the pretty stuff. Some designers are also architects, and some are not, but they work with architects to execute the final vision. A good designer will translate your vision for the space into a layout that takes into consideration the functional requirements of the space. They'll also provide specifications of finishes, flooring, lighting, wall coverings, paint, furniture, and other decor items. The designer will work directly with the architect to ensure that all the specifications make their way into the actual architectural plans that will end up with the contractors. Sometimes the designer is also the architect. It doesn't really matter so long as you understand that you do need a set of drawings stamped by a licensed architect for any work that's going to require a building permit. If you're moving into a turnkey second-generation space that only needs updated finishes like paint, flooring, and some decor, you probably don't need an architect, and you can use the designer for this work. Is your best friend a dentist with a great eye for decor? Great, that's totally fine. You can use her. You don't need any special licensing for the design part of the process. One thing that's really important in the design stage is to clearly communicate your budget. So much of your build-out budget is going to be spent on the most boring stuff, like HVAC and electrical work. It's important to be really honest with yourself about what design elements are really worth the investment. How do you know what these elements are? Well, think about how your customers are going to experience your space when identifying which elements are worth the money. This is where your competitive analysis really comes in handy. What parts of design and decor at your competitors made the most impact in your experience? How was the lighting? Were the chairs comfortable? What about the bathrooms? Was the vibe of the place aligned with the prices you were asked to pay? One good rule of thumb is if a customer is going to touch it or put it in their mouth, it's important. If you're opening a cafe or a restaurant, you may benefit from working with a kitchen equipment contractor. KECs are kind of like kitchen architects who also recommend, sell, and install equipment. Now, you might be tempted to buy equipment online or even used, but this is something you should consider very carefully. There are some items that are perfectly fine to buy online, like smaller pieces of equipment or items that don't have compressors. Just keep in mind that if your fridge fails, it will definitely happen on a Saturday night, and one emergency visit from a refrigeration tech is going to cost you $500. So there's definitely a value in peace of mind. So back to the KEC. Yes, you will probably pay more initially to buy your equipment through a kitchen equipment contractor because you can pretty much get whatever you want online. But the KEC offers so much more. They'll not only look at your menu and help you streamline your equipment list to the essential pieces, they'll lay it all out in the kitchen layout in a format that can go straight to the architects and engineers to make sure everything fits and to properly place the plumbing and electric. Commercial equipment often has really specific electrical and plumbing requirements, so this stuff needs to be 100% correct on your plans, or you'll end up paying your electrician $800 to fix it later. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I've never seen an electrical change order for less. Another advantage of buying through a kitchen equipment contractor is that they will receive all your equipment and store it until the exact moment that you're ready to have it installed. Then they'll cart it all over, install it, make sure it's all running properly, and often they'll even walk through your health inspection with you to make sure everything is A-okay. Can you do all this yourself? Sure, as long as you have the storage space and lots of help to move big, very heavy equipment. Also keep in mind that the time when all this stuff needs to be installed is pretty much exactly when you'll be busy training your staff before opening. One final note on this. There's a huge advantage to having someone handle anything that goes wrong right off the bat. The electric outlet doesn't fit the receptacle, or the fridge doors are opening in the wrong direction. You can make one call to have someone come out and fix it. So that's one less thing on your plate during a time when your plate is literally overflowing.